Step in. Tune in. Lights up. We begin.
In Motion presents the Sports Lab, where we discuss all things sports
I've just realised they kind of
with Sian Thomason, sports dietitian, and Damien Walsh, sports performance coach.
This is the Sports Lab.
Welcome to episode number 3 of the Sports Lab with Sian and myself, Damien.
Hello.
So, what are we up to on this episode?
So last time we talked a bit about where I started and what I'm up to and what I do now.
Yep.
So it's kind of over to you now. Let's find out a bit about you and what you do and how you are helping other people. So should go straight in some questions for you. All right. So tell us what kind of got you into fitness, running. Was there a particular person or a defining moment in your life that inspired you to do any of that fitness or running?
Just growing up in school, just generally like just being around other kids that were into sports. So that was just a natural path into sports. And then from the age of like 12 or 13, I worked at a local pub. I used to run there and back 5 or 6 nights a week. So maybe that's where my running started. And then I entered like a school cross country and realised that all of those miles and all of those evening runs to and from work accumulated to a decent level of fitness. So just through school, realised that I was an alright runner. I mean, my school wasn't really renowned for like being very good at sports. So when it sort of come to like districts or inter-schools championships, I'd do well to get on the podium. Yeah, wasn't at a school that really pushed sport. And then mid-20s, I ran what was going through a difficult period in my life, and a friend encouraged me to sign up for a marathon in Amsterdam, and that was 2011. And I never knew how to train for a marathon. I just put a podcast on and off I trot, and I was just trying to build up my miles. And I think my longest run I did was about 18.5 miles, and I had to get my mum to come and pick me up from the bottom of there's a big dip between Boreham and Hatfield Peveril, and I'd got down the bottom of that hill. I just couldn't get back up, and I was only about 2 miles away from home. So I marathon trained maybe the hard way, like on my own, no plan. But yeah, I did. I turned up and I achieved an alright time for a first marathon, 4 hours 20, and that was when I was 25. For the next 5 years, I wasn't so into fitness still, and then around 30, got back into fitness. It was like boxing training, joining a gym, and just seeing how hard boxers trained, and I like the going into training camp vibe where like you're locked in, and I kind of like that. And then my dad invited me to a park run, and that's when I kind of really got back into running. Then on a lunch break, or it was a tea break at work when I was working in London, I went down to the Mall leading up to Buckingham Palace, and it was the Vitality 10,000 metre road race, and Mo Farah was the star of the show. And I just remember being there, seeing the start, all the cameras, all the crowd, and just seeing like all of these competitive and elite superstar runners, followed by mass participated event of like huge numbers of thousands and thousands of people, all right behind them, all running 10k as well. And I just loved the fact that normal people could be on the same start line as elite people, and there's not many sports where that can happen. And it was on that day that I was Googling like mad which running shops were open in London, and I head straight over to get a Garmin watch. Shortly after that, I joined a local running club. So
do you think running, when you started running, do you think it was a kind of physical want and desire, or do you think it was like a mental health journey, or was it both?
So when I was 25 and I was training for the marathon, it was like there was a goal that was going to pull me through a really difficult time. And maybe, whether I knew it or not, maybe all of those runs were therapy, because I would often listen to things that you enjoy listening to, maybe not so educational, which is what it eventually got into. So when I returned to running when I was around 30 for maybe the few months leading up to that moment, I was listening to a lot of like anxiety podcasts to try and help with anxiety, depression, low mood, help me educate myself on eating habits, because I just felt like I was eating poorly, not being active enough, and I felt like I was going down like the wrong path of like seeking medication to help rather than something much healthier, which is exercise, being out in the open, being out in daylight, seeing people, being with like-minded people, being part of a community.
So you think it definitely helped your mental health?
100%.
Yeah.
I like habit stacking now, and I don't know whether I was doing that before I was a runner. Like, I would call, like, I don't know, a dad athlete, I'd say, maybe. Because you can't say athlete because that makes you sound like you're elite or something. So I'm like a dad athlete. Like, I try hard. I live like an athlete, but I'm still a dad, and I still have like dad responsibilities and things like that. But yeah, I listen to anything that's going to help me like learn to become better. It could be a nutritional podcast, it could be a running podcast, it could be a strength and training, it could be a rehabilitation podcast if I'm suffering with a little niggle at the time. So every time I go out for a run, I'll generally listen to something. But if I find like the world is like a little bit overwhelming, I'll just go out for a trail run, and do not take my phone with me. So it's a break from all of that technology as well. So yeah, it's different things for different times, I would say.
I think a lot of runners would say the same. It's a break from normalities and life, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you spoke about when you first started running and how, you know, what you did and how you didn't have a plan, you just kind of went with it. So if you could go back to that time, like, what would you tell yourself or advice would you give yourself when you were first starting that marathon training without any plan?
Definitely reach out to people that were already running. I mean, Instagram's full of people that run. You've got just general runners, you've got your couch to 5Kers, you've got the people that have been doing it years that just like to offer advice. Like, not everyone's after it, not everyone wants to charge for this. There's a lot of really kind runners out there that just want to help people. Like, there's no like financial gain involved for them. So just reach out, see if there's anyone in your local area. I mean, there's Facebook groups and things like that. You can reach out and say anyone. So I'd say going for a run with people that may already be running is a good idea, is a good way to start. Next thing after that, start to like look to structure your training or speak to a coach or join a running club, because if you join a running club, they have a structure already in place. So let's say one run a week is a tempo or a threshold session, and then they might do the second training session of the week would be an effort session where it's like all broken down, it's just a little bit shorter, sharper efforts. The third session of the week would be a Sunday long run or a long run, no matter what day it is. You'd usually leave a day between these sessions. So without knowing it or not, you'd be on a plan just by joining a running club. But obviously there's apps out there now that help with this, because what you don't want to do is, I mean, when I first trained for the marathon, I just needed to keep getting the miles up. So every 2 or 3 days, I'd add another mile on. Just because I knew I've just got to learn to run 26 miles. That's it. So I didn't understand why you need different types of training to become a better runner.
Yeah, so now that you are also coaching people to do performance and enhancing their performance, what do you see as the most common mistake that new runners make, and what could you do to support them through that, help them through?
Be patient. If it's someone that's getting into running, ask them what they're hoping to achieve from running. Is it just a better way of life, better quality of life, being active every day? And if that's the case, then there's definitely like room for that. 5k a day, people could do 5k a day if they really wanted to. Like, I see people in London doing, you know, a run up and down the river every morning. It's just a nice way to start the day for them. They've got stressful, busy jobs. Does the runner want to have a goal? Do they want to improve their running? Do they want to get faster? If that's the case, then they do need to break it down. So
when you're looking at coaching people, is there like one plan that you have for kind of every type of runner, or is it different individually for different types of runners, like balancing mileage, the intensity, recovery? I know you've kind of briefly mentioned that already about having days off in between running, but do you have like one plan that kind of fits everyone, or is it very individual?
I would say a general plan would be like the running club type plan, where you can do easy miles, and you don't have to have days off if you don't want. You can just do some easy miles on the days off, or just go for a walk, because the movement in between the sessions is also just as important as the rest. You couldn't do a really tough session and then do sod all the next day and then go and do a really tough session the next day, because you're not doing active recovery. Active recovery helps your body reset ready for the next session, and doing absolutely nothing isn't going to help your body reset for the next session. You might be well rested, but you haven't recovered.
Interesting.
There's a bit of a difference with that, because when you train hard, you fill your body up with chemicals like lactic acid. It's important the following day to get all of that out of your system. So staying hydrated, going out for a walk, raising your heart rate just a bit, just to like replenish your blood, replenish your muscles, so you are like ready to go a little bit harder the next day.
So you're always keeping moving, basically. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. So that's what it's called, active recovery.
So what would be your favourite type of run? Do you like long distance? Do you like slow and steady? Do you like tempo? Like, what do you prefer personally?
The one that I most dislike is like a tempo or a threshold where you've got to hold pace for like 40 minutes. It's just a tough run. There's a hill in Malden called Cromwell Hill. That's one of the toughest training sessions I ever do, and that's the one that I always really want to get back to, because I try to do one of those every 3 weeks when I'm on some kind of plan. That's kind of an agreement that I want that in my plan, because I just feel like it really helps with speed and VO2 max, like lung capacity. I suffer with asthma. Like, it really does push my limits, like the hill sprints. Generally it could be like 15 seconds to 30 seconds up, and then around a minute and a half recovery, and you just trot down. So that's like my go-to. I know that I'm on a mission to improve, progress, and you can even tell in my face the following day that I've smashed the session. So yeah, I'd say it's a tough session.
Do you think doing the hill run is helping your lung capacity?
Massively, yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like I said, I suffer with asthma. The amount of oxygen that you need in that short space of time, and then obviously you're allowing yourself to calm down in between, ready for you to go again. So you're almost like introducing a stress to your body, like just for those 30 seconds. In more ways than one, like a lung stress, heart stress, a turnover of your legs. You will be going up that hill and working harder, faster than you would ever on a normal flat run.
So people that have asthma and other breathing related issues, running could potentially support that and help it rather than put them off.
Yeah, so I would definitely advise that, but I wouldn't go and smash a hill session if you have asthma without being with other people. And I would definitely like dip your toe into it without going too hard. So maybe if I was to advise somebody that would like to try a hill session, go and do it. Make sure you're with someone. Maybe just try it for 5 minutes. Just try 3 or 4 hill sprints just in the middle of an easy run, just to see how you are. But make sure you do dynamics and all of the important things that you need to do to get yourself ready for a hill sprint, because you shouldn't just do a hill sprint straight out of the gate. You should definitely prepare your body for it. The whole point of hill sprints are a shock to the body, but then you can like start building them up. And imagine like you do 3 hill sprints one day, and then the following week try and do 5, the following week try and do 10, and before you know it, you could, like, my hill sessions are generally around a 5k. That's what I usually cover on a hill session. So, and then I'll usually do a 1 to 2 mile warm up, 1 to 2 mile cool down. So make sure you're always warmed up and cooled down. But so that is one of my favourite types of run, because it's super challenging and I feel like I get a lot out of it. And the other favourite type of run is what I call an adventure run. So I'll plan to meet like maybe a family member somewhere, and generally it's on a trail. So let's meet for lunch in Mersey, Mersey Island's like 20 miles from where I live. I know it sounds like a lot. I'm not doing this at the moment, by the way. But yeah, I'll be like, I'll meet you there at midday. So I make sure I get up, I make sure everything's ready. My fuel's done. I fuel the night before. And it's not always a 20 mile. It could be a 5 mile, just to the local cafe that's through. But yeah, it's just make sure you're all prepared, you're hydrated, you treat it probably like a real run. And you just take your time. And it's just an adventurous plod on trail. It's good for your body, less impact. And you're on your way to something. You're on your way to meet some friends, and when you get there, that meal that you have is a really good meal, and you feel like you appreciate it and you deserve it as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea, and it's a good tip for people as well, isn't it? To have a goal to reach, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, not everyone loves running, and not everyone loves running all the time. So you're always going to have, stints in life, even with, runners that run really, really regularly, that struggle to maintain the enjoyability out of it. So as a coach, how do you keep motivating your runners to make sure they still enjoy it and still want to keep doing it?
Some goals, maybe, like a goal race or a potential meetup. I know, like, Scott, who is a running coach, is a good friend. So he has a frequent run every Sunday from a tea room. So they know that they all meet and have a coffee and a cake or a little bit of lunch after their Sunday run. That's a really good way to keep runners interested and enjoying it as well, because they're with people, they're with like-minded people. Some people are on a plan, some people are not on a plan, they just need to tick over in between plans. But yeah, it's usually like the bit at the end that people look forward to as much as, who really wants to get up at 6, 7 in the morning on a Sunday? But everybody wants to have done the run by 10, 11 o'clock and be sitting in a cafe having a coffee and having a little chat, talking about things and what they're up to. Another thing is, a community I'm part of is the 50C Club, which is just an independent running group. They meet at the running track at 5 o'clock every Thursday. And it doesn't matter if you had a rubbish day at work, good day at work, everyone just turns up, and by the end of every session, everyone's in good spirits, or even during the session, actually, everyone's like joking around, but on the efforts, everyone makes sure they take them seriously, and it's led by a really good coach called Martin. It almost like feels like they're a running family, so you know that they're going to be there no matter what. Like every Thursday, whether it's raining, whether it's really hot, whether it's freezing cold, very, very, very rarely does it not go ahead. So it's just like consistency, familiarity. I meet up with friends to do it, whether it's a park run or just a Sunday run where you plan to go out and then go for some lunch after. So there's definitely good ways. Like in cycling, because I'm dipping my toe into cycling over the last like 2 or 3 years. What they do is like they hold each other accountable, because when they start going out on their spring rides, they're like, oh, who's done your winter miles indoors? Whether you wanted to do them with winter miles indoors is a different question. But the fact is, if you did those, you can go and enjoy your spring rides with your mates. So that's the things that keeps you interested and keeps you locked in. So I'd like to think that could like relate to running as well.
Yeah, the other thing I find that some of my patients is that it's the medal, isn't it, after an event, if you're the lovely shiny medal at the end is the incentive to like keep pushing yourself to get that collection growing.
That's true, and I think that maybe
who doesn't love a medal?
Maybe we overlook the medals. Like they are really important, and I've helped out with Chelmsford half marathon for a few years now. Like he really does put a lot of effort into the medals there. They're huge now.
Yeah.
I know one year that he did mess up. I think he didn't order the right one or didn't order the right ribbon that goes around it. And how to upset a runner is not order the right ribbon for a medal. But generally, he really does push the boat up when it comes to medals. Like CM half, their medals are like almost the size of an A4 page.
I mean, I'm not a runner, but I would run for the medal, to be honest. Yeah.
Or run for the cake.
Something shiny. Oh, the cake. Yeah. Shiny. Right. So, I mean, should we do one more question?
If you want.
Yeah. So you've spoken briefly about fueling and getting ready for long runs, but like, what are your kind of must-have tools, equipment, gear, clothing, whatever, for like a really good, solid run?
I'd say trusting your fueling. So if you do tend to have some sort of like fueling, like a carb mix, drinks, electrolytes mix, just make sure it's something that you enjoy having, that you like the taste of, and it works and you can hold down. Make sure you wear footwear that you feel like you could run in all day.
Footwear's another whole podcast.
Tracking it on a watch, maybe, and if you're like, sometimes like with watches, they're not super precise. If you are going out and you're doing like an effort session, like we were talking about the hill session, wearing like a chest strap or an arm strap instead of, or as well as the watch, you could probably get improved data. Make sure that you wear clothes that you're comfortable in, that you're used to. And obviously if you're ever like going into a race, make sure that when you race, it's not the first time that you wear something. Make sure it's something that you've at least trained into 2 or 3 times, and that could be a shoe, could be shorts, a vest, and also like not so much in training, because I don't know of many people that suffer with this in training, but if you're going into run a marathon, make sure you either Vaseline or plaster your nipples up, because that's the last thing you want. And I've never really suffered with this with running, but I know that a lot of people do with cycling, is like a little bit of chafing. So I mean, there are like sort of solutions and creams out there that might help with that. I've never suffered with it running ever, but I know that some people could or might. So yeah, just make sure because like just like a little bit of rubbing somewhere could really be sore for 2 or 3 days, and could potentially stop you running for 2 or 3 days, or just make it uncomfortable. So on that as well, is like, if you are feeling something sore or something isn't quite right, just have a think about how it might impact your next 2 or 3 days. So it could be like a potential like little niggle or injury, or it could be a blister or something like that. Just think, if you push through this now, what's the point in finishing a run? You might as well just stop and walk, if it's going to reduce the potential injury or effect of what the damage that you're creating to yourself. So in the summer, make sure you wear waterproof sun cream and a hat as well to keep the sun off your head, especially me, as I don't have any hair. You want to look after yourself. Like if you're out on open in the exposed to external conditions, just make sure you're prepared. So in your winter, you don't want to be wet through. Make sure you wear waterproof gear, because you could get ill from becoming soaked, and you just can never, in the UK, you can never really trust the weather. So yeah, just make sure that you have a little look at the weather report the night before you go out. Maybe that's a little bit of good advice to do, because that could impact what you wear the following day or for that particular run.
Yeah, I think we'll do a podcast maybe at some point on clothing. I know we've got a great future guest that has a company that does great natural anti-chafes. So they're going to come on. They know who they are. It's brilliant. Right, I've got hundreds of other questions for you, but I think we'll wrap it up today and make another pod with some more questions, more people to listen in.
Nice one. I'm looking forward to it.
Brilliant.
See you soon.
Bye.